My dad, Guy. If I had to describe him in 3 words, it would probably be nuts, childish, and it's not really a word, but always messing about on his bike.
Wow, Freya, where do I start? I mean, she's absolutely awesome, but she has always been totally full on. I've been a professional bike tester since before the girls were born, so there's always been bikes around. We always want them to find their own way, find their own sports, their own passions, so they've kind of come and gone from pedaling. But Freya's 18 now, she's moving away from home shortly, and I guess just thought it'd be really nice that she could share a part of my world before she moved out of it.
I've heard my dad banging on YouTube about, I've been testing bikes for 35 years. And I'm really excited to see what that's actually all about, see why he's so impressed about that and why he loves it so much.
How's it going, Frey?
It's going good.
So my idea was not to go too far or even too far away from home, but just give her a really kind of condensed best of gravel riding. Of course, being gravel, it was vitally important that we had some really good tee stops and a properly beautiful campsite to overnight in. For adventures like this, where we're genuinely going out into the middle of nowhere and we have to be self-reliant, preparation is super important. So I always make sure I do a dry pack and lay everything out on the floor beforehand.
The morning of when we were packing the bikes, I actually had to admit I was out of my depth and actually let my dad tell me what to do. And he had great tips, and it was things like putting the heavy stuff at the bottom and that you can stuff a jacket down its own sleeve and strap it on, and it works perfectly, as well as snack placements, because you're going to need so many snacks, and having them in the bottom of your bag is not helpful.
So started in the morning, bit of packing of bags, bit of passing on tips to Freya, then it was time to hit the road.
The first morning was really exciting for me because I felt like I stepped into this different world, even though it was basically on my doorstep. It was just amazing to see so much different scenery and to be able to actually ride it all.
Freya's more of a mountain biker, so I was a little bit apprehensive about how she'd react to the whole gravel bike thing, but she took to that Damani Plus like a duck to water. We were laughing straight away.
Whoopsie!
In the first couple of hours, we went from sort of slippery woodland descents and then out into the middle of nowhere on the moors.
But going into the ride, I was a little bit apprehensive because most of the time I'm out on trails, I'm behind my dad on a tandem where I'm just leaning the bike through stuff and not steering or doing gears or anything like that. But my dad's been super helpful, giving me tips on descending and climbing, and I ended up covering loads of stuff that I didn't think I could.
You're riding, seriously? First time on single track, loaded gravel bike.
One of the highlights for day one was absolutely decimating my dad on this climb before the T-spot. It was very funny because I was on an e-bike and he wasn't, so I just put it on like max power 3 and just merrily cycled past him while he was close to tears. It was a pretty beautiful moment for me.
On that quarry climb, I did have to run through some technique tips with Freya, so keeping her weight forward so the front wheel didn't lift, but then putting making sure the power was going through the back wheel for traction, and it was great up until the point I really started struggling to keep up with her.
Do you want some food or should I just ring the vet?
Honestly filled me with a lot of joy.
But by the time we hit the moorland single track, I think we were both really ready for some cream tea and scones in classic British bikepacking tradition. Best bit about bikepacking is tea and the scones, especially when it's somewhere you can't even get by car. After lunch, Freya was super keen to get some more exploring done, so we headed south and then looped back north, right on the edge of the moors with amazing views, back up to High Paradise, which is where we were spending the night.
We are done, hun. We are literally at High Paradise Farm. Right, tea, cake, camping, beer, food.
I think my family would say I have a mixed reputation when it comes to finding hospitable camping spots, but we absolutely aced it on this one.
It was super nice to set up the tent and cook the stuffed pasta that I'd been dreaming about since we set off at like 8 o'clock in the morning. But I also think camping like that is really important when you gravel ride, purely because this adventure was based on the company you're with. While we discuss.
Yeah, you've been looking forward to this all day, haven't you?
Yes, I have. And I'm really trying to not get any splashback because I don't want to burn myself.
Day 2, early start, and then straight into some of the best riding on the whole loop.
I learned that I snore a lot, according to my dad. I got to give my dad his due. Day 2 was absolutely amazing. We started off going through this like little wooded section and broke out into the most amazing moorland with just this insane view.
I was already really impressed with how Freya was handling the bike on the first day. She was even getting air on some descents, but on the second day I think it really clicked.
My favourite bit has to be when I realised I could bunny hop some of the little like humps down one of the tracks in the moors. That was great. The first time my bike kind of went in the air, it just was so joyful. It's been really fun to kind of explore what I can do and what the bikes are capable of.
I always had planned adventures so you can chill out a bit more on day 2, and that's exactly what we did. We were absolutely flying in some places, then others we were just hanging out under trees with some new fleecy friends.
But it was nice to be able to fully stop like that and fully enjoy your surroundings and the people you're with, instead of stressing about comms or stressing about I need to be somewhere.
I think it's super important to leave the most positive memories to the last, so I planned in a really long flowing descent and then like a final finish flourish down to a stream which Freya loved.
The last hour was amazing because it felt like it was all downhill, and the final descent goes straight into a ford, so I got to cover my dad in water, which is my favourite way to end a ride.
I've absolutely loved our gravel adventure together. It's been such a great way to spend time with Freya before she goes away, and I hope that she takes that experience and that enjoyment of being out in the wilds on a bike and introduces more people to it herself, and maybe even comes back and we share some more time on the trails ourselves.
These last 2 days have definitely changed my opinion of gravel riding, and I would love to do some more adventures, maybe with friends from uni. And I've enjoyed it with my dad so much that when I come back, I might even do some with him, if he's lucky.